In Jesus' name we have prayed and believed.
Amen.
We lay our future in thy hands. United, free for liberty, together we'll always stand.
Mungu twaomba uilinde
Jumuiya Afrika Mashariki, tuwezeshe kuishi kwa amani,
tutimize na malengo yetu. Jumuiya yetu zote tuilinde, tuwajibike, tuimarike. Umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu. Yes, please, we can have our seats.
We're all here. Honorable Justice Mike Chipita, Justice of the High Court, I honor you for coming. Bishop Michael Chaze, Pope Community, Dr. Hafsa Kwata, Assistant Commissioner of Mental Health Division, Ministry of Health, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed. I'm so happy to be here and I'm so happy to have you. And I'm going to cut my speech very short because we've started late and I want to be mindful of everybody who has made time to come, especially people who also came on time. Our guest of honor came here before many people. So anyhow, excited about this because it's so different from the others. We shall be having a new chapter in South Africa on the 25th. It's going to be launched in South Africa, the Keturah Mental Health Awards. And the people we are partnering with, because I want people to also understand who is talking to you. I'm called Angela Nsindi. I'm not a judge. Neither am I a bishop, neither am I a doctor. Somebody with lived experience, somebody who has ever had a challenge with her mental health. And what you see today is a product of that, because I wrote a book. The book is right there in the corner for people who want to read it and buy. And that book birthed this project. And the organization behind this is called Heart to Heart Chat Mental Health Program. And the actual registered name now is called Natamba Wellness Support. And we are very happy to be here. Our partners, Dr. Hafsa, mental health, the mental health division, they've really been with us since we started our very steps. I appreciate you, Doctor. And this year, I know today, by the way, is World Mental Health Day for people who don't know. And the theme internationally is access to services, mental health in catastrophes and emergencies. However, in Uganda, the theme for these awards is father effect and mental health. So one will wonder why. And I just want to quote statistics of a study that was done by AfriChild in 2021 about the status of Uganda's fatherhood situation. And what this report says that Ugandan fathers who are not actively involved, no, those who are actively involved emotionally and financially, those are 5%. The children abandoned, the fathers who have abandoned their children, that is at 40%. And then there are 10%, there's 10% of fathers who are not even aware that they are fathers. So the reason why we are doing what we are doing today is to bring the men to, like to shake you a bit that please, we need fathers, we need your presence, because when a father is not in position, there is a crisis in the nation. And I'm going to quote statistics of World Health Organization. Over 700,000 children, even though they are adults also, but over 700 lives are lost to suicide. However, between ages 15 to 29, that's the majority who are affected by this statistic. And for every 40 seconds, we lose a life to suicide. And I know Dr. Hafsa will say even more, Dr. Hafsa, I know you're going to even say more things, the current situation. And then you see our population as Uganda, we're 40, okay, according to the census, we're 45, but I wasn't counted. My family wasn't counted by the way. One was wrong. Anyway, well, we are 45 million, right? And then the recent reports of New Vision, I remember correctly, said 14 million people have mental health disorders. However, in Uganda we have over 60 psychiatrists, right, doctor? 80. They are now 80, right? Although the last time I talked to Dr. Kalani, he told me 75. Okay, now 80. But then when doctor speaks, because I was there when she was saying this, only 27 are employed. And yet we have a crisis. So the reason for this, one, we want to celebrate our winners, people who are making impact in the mental health space, but we also want to remind ourselves about what really matters. We want fathers' involvement. You might be a man and you're saying, I'm not yet a daddy. It is okay, because you're not yet a father. We have some young men around, they are boys, they are yet to be 18. But whether you are not a daddy yet, as men, we want to call you to action, be involved in family. We don't want to lose our children. And then for me, my call to government, I'm sure now probably Dr. Hafsa there, you'll pass on that message. We want the Mental Health Authority established so that the Mental Health Act 2019 is implemented. Yeah, we don't just want to have an act that we keep on the shelves and we do not implement. And because you are my friends, let me stop there. I don't want to say very much.
You also have to change that for yes, you can. If you feel like the Lord has done something good for you. Hey, all of you don't want to thank God. Hello. I know there's someone what they are saying.
Introduce two people I came in with. Subeda Namgeji. She's a lawyer. She's also CEO of something called Muslim Mediation and Arbitration Center. So she's a mediator, but she does some research for me. Elia, I always Elia Triambreva is one of my friends. We work with each other from time to time. Thank you for coming. Is Tendo here yet? There's somebody else coming. Later when the study came out and they said 1 out of 4, 1 out of every 4 people gathered is
Having mental challenge.
yes, has mental challenges. That's the one I was looking, because man is a bit stigmatizing. So if you are at a table and you are 4, please. Now, when we were in school, when I was in secondary school, we used to act plays, and one of the plays we acted was Merchant of Venice. Anybody has not read Merchant of Venice?
Yes.
Has not? If you have not, please look for that play. It has a character called Shadow. Very interesting. The most dramatic piece of the story is Shadow was a Madeleine. He left this person, and to make it difficult for the person to paper. It says if you default, you take a pound of your flesh. And so the person defaults, and Shylock demands for his pound of flesh. And very wise judge says, okay, he's going to give you a pound of flesh. Nothing more, nothing less. Let's get the knife. No blood, because blood wasn't part of the covenant. So please go ahead and extract your 1 pound. And so it's a very dramatic play. Now, when I was in school, high school, the person who acted this role very, very well, it's called Ivan Rubakon. But when we left, the play continued getting acted, and apparently somebody else acted. So we were at all this gathering, and the young generation was saying the person who best acted this role is called Joseph Atkunda. And my generation was saying, who is even Joseph Atkunda when Ivan Rubakon speaks? Now, I didn't know Joseph was around, so after we had made arguments and belittled him and all, Joseph comes to me and says, I'm Joseph Atkunda. But as hobbies, we gloss over it. And many years later, I come to learn that Joseph is actually bipolar. He was discovered to be bipolar. And that's the first time I heard about bipolar, and that people can be here with you and you think they are okay, but sometimes they are not okay. Bipolar is one. Of course, that's why we say the word mad is stigmatizing. Because there are many, many, many different words for different conditions. Bipolar, schizophrenia, depression, anxiety, and so on. There are so many things that describe our different conditions. So Joseph introduced me to this bipolar. Now that's the time I became a judge. And in Fort Portal High Court, I came across my first case of somebody who was mentally unsound and was to stand trial. So basically somebody is in the dock and you're reading to them the charge and all, and they're in a different world. And you were never taught how to deal with this. So the good thing with this is like when you are driving a car, the best tool, let's call it that, lever, is the brake lever. Because if you think you are going to knock or what, you just step on the brakes, and the only risk you take is a truck will be coming from behind you at full speed. But usually you are safe. So with a judge, the biggest tool you have is to adjudge. So once you see the person is not understanding, then you adjudge the matter, you go and do some consultations with books and so on. So in Fort Portal, I learned there was a person of mental health challenges who had been in prison for 10 years. And the system just didn't know what to do with them. So they put him in a hospital, the hospital bit of the prison. And on the law books was something that if the challenge like that you find, then you refer the matter to the minister. And the minister will then make a decision what to do and so on. And we followed up with the minister and all, and our good friend General Tafiri was the Minister of Justice at one point when I interacted and I said, Joseph had told me that this is one of the challenges of mental health fraternity. Many, many people are waiting ministers' orders in prison. So we talked to General Tafiri, I don't think he minds me saying this. He said, my friend, if a whole judge cannot make a decision on that matter, why do you want me to be the one to make it? And it made sense. It made sense. So when I left High Court, this problem persisted. We proposed that the law be amended so that the judge makes a decision on the spot, because you can look at somebody and know whether they are following or not. Anyway, long story short, one day Joseph came to me, and he has invited me to many gatherings of his organization called Heart Sounds Uganda and so on. And he told me, Mike, because we are all busy, you can call me Mike, you can call me Joseph. He said, there's only one thing I want to do before I die. And he said, I want to act as Shiloh one more time, and you are going to make it happen. I said, okay, Joseph. Then when he left, I said, now how am I going to make this happen? I used to act in play in school, but never produced a play, in a case I'm in charge and so on. But through circumstances and me being open, because when somebody makes a prayer like this, it's a sincere prayer, and you could put things together. No story, we put up a cast, mostly audience, all the timers, people adapted in the play, we incorporated other professional actors, and we put on a professional show of magic events at many venues, and there was great turn up, and it was very, very well received. And Joseph actually acted Shiloh for some of the shows. And he said, now I can die. This has been my dream. Thank God he's still alive. And there was another point, and we said this is in the aid of mental health. You know, we were able, after paying all the expenses, we paid all the actors, actresses, venues, and all this is what I'm telling you about the outpouring. We were able to save 20 million shillings, which we handed over to Joseph and his family as the time for them to do some businesses. I will be there because people, when they visit, especially when it is not public, you really never know. But I visited, and it helped me understand what goes on in our country, and Tanika saying they were overwhelmed, many people, because of drug abuse and alcohol. Sometimes that also happens. I will tell you one more story about Nakasa Hospital. Now, I have a friend who is from another country, and he got some challenges, I think, related to mental. And I was out of the country, but they called me and said, you are the only person who can convince this person to go to the hospital because everybody has refused. So, long story, I talked with him, and he was able to be taken to the hospital, the thing that deals with mental health. Now, I went to visit him when I got back. And I visited him, and of course, he was saying, tell the doctor to discharge me. Doctor, she's a judge, she's here to tell you to discharge me now, we must go. And so part of the thing was trying to deal with that, managing the expectation that I'm not going to get you out, you are still and so on. But I met somebody else there who I knew. And I didn't know the person was in that hospital for that problem. And now that person became even more of a problem because she said, you are not leaving me here. She even walked up to the car and said, you have to take me out. But eventually we were able to leave them stay there. And these were ordinarily normal people. I think the good news is both of them are out of that place and they are functioning normally. So I think we should not give up on people. There's help out there in the hospitals, and I pay tribute to Tanika and Nakasa hospitals which I have visited for being able to take care of these people and bring them back to normalcy. Now, our thing is about fatherhood. Fathers here? Any fathers? Yeah, I made a special appeal to fathers to come, but okay, we have a good number. Thank you very much for coming. Let's give the fathers. Fatherhood is a difficult thing, by the way, so spare us some flack when you are criticizing us. We don't compare with anything. We just want as a standalone. But I have a friend, Dr. Boza, who did a series on fatherhood versus malehood. And the two are different. Very, very different. I'm glad people here know that malehood and fatherhood are different because malehood here once you are born biologically like that, you are a male. You almost don't, you can father and not know that you are a father, and you move on. I think it is Miles Monroe who says, I think God endowed the man with so many seeds that they can be broadcasted. If you can be a father of 100, maybe 1,000 if you wanted. And we have seen some people on YouTube married with 6 to 8 children and so on. Now fatherhood takes special responsibility. It means you take responsibility for the person you are going to father children with, and you take responsibility for the children that come out of that relationship. And this is where the challenge is. So the statistics she has read about fathers who don't know that they are fathers, fathers who deliberately abandon, and that kind of thing. Of course you read stories about they got triplets and the father freaked out and disappeared from the hospital. Yes, because of reasons why men abandon children. Many reasons, some of them sound, some of them laughable, but in any case, that's what happens. But there's never a good reason to abandon your child. There's never a good reason to abandon a loved one with whom you have fathered a child, to abandon them, however difficult. In fact, the more difficult the situation, the more you need each other, because children were meant to be raised by both parents, unless of course a tragedy and one of the parents dies. But you've seen, and men actually psychologically I think is afraid because of what has been said. And I think this is what society never realizes, women, that men are actually psychologically very weak. But they come at them like, you are the man and so on, and the man is like, hey, I'm the man, so what? You know, it is like a snake. I've met men who say, when they see a snake, they will run. But the man is the one supposed to kill the snake. But in reality, so we have to deal with the situation, and men need some talking to, also counseling and so on. Let's abandon this thing of society, saying men have to do this, men have to do this, but we need to prepare them. I'm not giving them a cop-out, but society, we need to begin talking to the boy child, preparing them, and realizing that they get the strength from society, from their fathers, and on. So you find a situation where the child was abandoned and grows into a man.
He also does.
Yeah, the thing is, modeling is, oh, my father took off, and if there's a difficulty, I now understand. So it will go either way, either he will purpose that I don't want to be like my father. For me, I'm going to stand up and fight for my child. Or when he faces the difficulties, will decide, now I can understand why my dad took off. Women are difficult. So that's why we need counseling and talking to the boy child and the girl child, all children from the beginning. And say you don't have to inherit your parents' bad traits. You can inherit the good ones and model after them. And you can make a difference. You can change the trajectory of your clan, of your family line. It is up to each one of us is given a responsibility and an opportunity at life. And we have to carry it out responsibly. So, in conclusion, fathers have a very important role to play in the life of their children and in the life of the country. Because the family is a small unit, a microcosm of what happens in society. The way you're running your family, your home, is a reflection of how the rest of the country will be. And therefore, if we have a strong country, a stable country, a country full of values, and with children who are stable, we need the family to be strong, and we need the fathers to be strong, to take responsibility, to stand up and be counted. I thank the fathers who have come up here today. It's because it is a way of standing up and being counted and being part of the conversation. And thank you for organizing these mental health awards to continue highlighting the situation in the country about mental health, and that indeed we all can do something about it. I thank you very much for listening to me. God bless you.
I want to repeat.
So we were 5 of us, grew up with most of the time with our mom. Our dad used to drink a lot, used to come in late, often open the door with his kick. He would kick in the door, and they would fight with mom. And I remember oftentimes that when he would throw mommy down, I would run and jump on his back and fight him. And he would throw me across the room. And I used to wonder why my brothers are not responding when we have a crisis. But I was always a sure help for money in a time of crisis. I didn't know what it was doing to me. My dad died when I was in primary six. But later on, in my ministry as a preacher, after pastoring for 15 years, there is something that happened that opened my realization that bad fatherhood can ruin your life. You know, I earlier on graduated and worked as a deputy headmaster of the school which is in Masuli, called Masulita Boarding Secondary School, where I worked with a boss who was equally bullish and used to shout a lot at me, giving me instructions. Until one time he came and said, "Mutaba, young," and we sat. He said, "Rachi, when you go to the toko And I didn't notice that when he yells at me, I don't do anything. And then my heart said, my heart had resolved never to be afraid of any man. So the more he would yell, the less I would respond. Yet in my real core of life, a whisper from a woman is a command. Now let me rest that there. So 15 years in ministry, there were missionaries who came from the United States, and they were doing a research on pastors. And they were filling out huge questionnaires, and they had chosen me to be part of their research. And they sat in my office. I was already married, I had 2 kids, and they began questioning me about my life. And they asked, your mom's name, where does your mom stay, how is your relationship with your mom? They went through so many questions. And then they came to a page where there was daddy. Your dad's name. I told them, Dad is this. How is your relationship? Say no relationship, Dad passed on. Say also, how many times have you visited his grave? Then I'm saying, should I? Then went on asking, did you love your dad? Did you play with your dad? But you know, at a certain moment, I just broke down and started crying. And I wept. So they couldn't ask any more questions. But then as I was crying, I don't know how God created us. I was crying with my eyes closed, and I was seeing myself around age 12, squatted in a corner crying. And a voice was telling me, I've finally found you. So, these guys told me, Pastor, we won't interview anymore, we shall come back some other day. We need to give you time with yourself. So when they came back, they asked the same questions, but they told me, you have a father wound. You need to be healed. And I began that day asking myself, how do you heal yourself from a father wound? Now, like coincidence, 2 months later, another preacher came, again from the United States. And this man was saying he has a ministry of fatherhood. And when he came, he asked me, where's your father? I told him the same story. And he said, okay, believe that. Who is your spiritual father? Now I was listening, hearing that in that context for the first time, because I used to see pastor as pastor, son. I never thought the role of fatherhood can stretch over many other things, roles. I was asking, who's your spiritual father? I told him, oh, my spiritual father, someone who led me to the Lord, discipled me somewhere in this place. He told me, take me there. And we went with him. And we had a cup of tea with that gentleman. Then this Muzungu said to the pastor, would you please give me your son? And pastor replied, freely I've given him to you. And as we walked out of that building, he told me, pastor, even that one is not your father. Fathers don't give away children. Now my life was getting totally now confused. But I was realizing that I've grown up, I've finished studies, I'm pastoring a church, and I'm not yet very clear about fatherhood. I have 2 children, and this gentleman told me, unless you address the issue of fatherhood, you are going to run a life which is full of pain. And you will not be able to bring up children the way you would have brought them up. Even the members of your church will miss the element of being fathered. So I started reading the Bible, and this time I was looking for the word father. And I was shocked that the Bible is full of the word father. Yes. Somehow, when reading, I did not even know, or never had it clicked in my mind. What would you call it? I never had it been fully stimulated in my mind that the Lord's Prayer begins with, our Father who art in heaven. So now, I get to see, oh, there it is. And then I get to see it in Malachi. I get to see the role of fatherhood. And then I started teaching myself to be a father. That's the story of my life. And I think I'm doing well. Now as though my children keep on complaining about, my sons complain about this and that. But I also said to them, you know guys, I'm doing my best. I'm doing my best. I cannot, the emotional drain on a pastor who is pastoring over 800 people and a family, and all the girls at church call you father, and all the boys father, and at home you have children. And then you see that unless that area is addressed, there's a challenge at home, and it's ruining marriages and ruining the future generation. Let me throw that story there and pick up another. In my office, one time, one young girl I pastored for 15 years came. She was bringing me a young man. She was saying, "Pastor, I'm getting married and we are going to introduce." She was excited. She had 5 siblings. They were staying somewhere in Budo. And I told her, "Go ahead, go and talk to your dad." I saw the young man, I said, "I think this is going to be a good marriage. Go talk to your dad, prepare for the introduction and so on." So, next thing I see is this girl coming back to me. Red eye, crying, says, "You know, Pastor, Daddy is not Daddy. And Mommy never told me Daddy." When I introduced the idea, Mommy said, Daddy said, "Sijja kwa bala kanzo eteya. Leero, oyina okumanya taata wo mutuufu." But the girl has grown up saying, always saying, I don't look like my other siblings because for me I look more like Daddy's son. Now she gets to know that Daddy is not Daddy. And Daddy is so bold to say, "Get the ginger or get out." And Mommy can only say the name of the village and one of the names of the father. And the girl boldly set out and said, "Kamile Nonyetata," went to Ginger. And when she reached the village and said, "Let me use some name there," and they said, "Banange, I'm looking for Mulamba, I'm a daughter of Mulamba." Then the woman let out a scream and said, "Banange!" Everyone come, and the whole village ran. Wow. Then they told me, "Mwana wange, Katonda wabya magero, taata wo, abadde asula taata we ye yeetikka bisasiro, bano abasula mu buveera, kati yali akasengula obuveera n'ebintu." Umwana n'agamba Daddy asulawa. Amulaga ebiveera. That girl was she went to church, totally destroyed. She told me, "Pastor, I need someone to escort me that when we go to the village and look for Daddy, probably he needs a shot, probably he needs what." They say he's completely gone mentally and he carries little things and rubbish in the village. Now, she got married, but that marriage didn't stand. But the real thing was, again, when I could trace the lack of proper fatherhood. This evening, as we give out awards, we must know that the fatherhood question is too big, and we can sit here all day discussing the horrors, the pain of not having proper fatherhood. My prayer is that as we continue in the dialogues we are going to hear here, I listened to my brother Mike as he articulated, and I thought he gave us a fair discussion on what we need to understand more on fatherhood. I pray that God blesses our nation with good fathers. God bless you.
So when you see her, the ministry will ask you, please, you welcome.
Thank you very much. With all due respect, to my cause, allow me to address Alex. The organizer of this event, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, it is with great honor that I am here. I am so happy. I nearly missed this, but deep down I was like, how will Angela be? I tell her anything, like, you know, like, oh, now, this is it. But I did it before I came to. So they know that if you are somewhere, that covers the I think. Although many times they complain that what Angela, we came up with this thing, and I never ever thought about its gravity, like it has been discussed today. So I got into the Bible, the way they approach it out, I've been thinking through my childhood as I was growing up, not as a role of my father. How did I see him? How? What is it? Okay, he passed on. I think I had a good dad. Although my mother was telling us he wasn't.
The squad card is over.
This man does it. All the time I was the other side, like I've been looking at it. I would be done. Said, no, you want me to make it. Oh, you got it. Like they always knew me as so maybe that's how I used to feel when I look back at this. But on the whole, when I hear stories about people, when they talk about their fathers, my father being a Muslim, had one wife. And he would tell his colleagues the dangers of having many women. I'm still lost in that. I'm just forgive me, I'm still lost in that issue of fatherhood and how good fathers should be or not be. However, I'm a mother of 4 boys.
Wow.
Yeah. I think my husband is a good father. Let me tell you a story. One time, my second boy was a crying baby. So we would wake up, put him on the breast, he would suck a little bit, then cry again. Somehow we didn't know what he really wanted. And so one time my husband hit him and said, "No one your husband." So that he was so shocked that he was being beaten. But then he told me, when I'm a child, like what to keep somebody, we thought he was not for them. Like, we wasn't letting him out. So he refused. He wanted to suckle. So he suckled and he slept. And he did not cry. Again. Like, man, he's this man. But he kept disturbing us. Until when he was, so, hey, okay, this boy's they've done these things. Then there's another thing, he would not allow them to susu while standing. Like, you need to squat, urinate, and clean yourself. First, we wash with water. So, he said, it's good when you do not, even if there's no water, you cannot stand and, that was something that is learned. And they know it, you cannot susu when you're standing, even to bed.
Wow.
Two of them are adults. So, there's certain things we keep there, like when they come back from school, I'm the one who brought it. Like, you're supposed to hug the child. Hug them so that you feel whether they have alcohol or, whether they're okay.
Whether they're baby.
Yes, whether it's very before they start. So I started it off and lost it along the way. But for him, we continued. To date, like someone is coming from university, says, yes, sir, it's my baby. Okay, that's fatherhood.
Wow.
And he has accepted to have one with the single sex children. He has not demanded for a girl. But it was because an auntie of mine asked for me, because it thought I was right, to take me, it was staying in Tebe and what was staying in Kampala, to take me to Kampala so that I would go to the high school and be with those that did that, So I grew up with my auntie. And she was single. But over the holidays, we would go home and, So, but I think we didn't miss like not having a father in her space. I don't know how to have felt. But my father was there for all of us. Like holiday time, it was now all of us. It was fun. We would go to the village, and we would go home. But also to the village, sometimes we would go to the village, or grandma's place. Father, those that had fathers that was in his heart were all in there. That's how it worked. And I think it was also very useful because you got to know the life without a father and the life with a father. When my father died, the other thing that I told my colleagues, my brothers, I loved my father so much, so I was there with him all the time. Because of an accident, I keep telling the story, on the 26th of January, when the NRA was celebrating, one of the drunkards came and knocked him, he knocked him, and he didn't die immediately, but he broke his leg and so on. Later got pulmonary embolism because of being, dead. But all the time he was there, I was with him, and I think I let him, he was lucky I was a doctor for him and everything. But my brothers left him for me. So they had so much when he died, more than I did, because for me I was there for him, I did everything.
Yeah.
And by the way, on that day, he died on a Friday, buried him on Saturday, and on Monday I had exams. I told my auntie, the one I grew up with, that I have exams on Monday, so I'm going to be around. It's okay. I didn't tell my mom, and I didn't tell anyone, so I went. So at the very people like, where is it? Where is Musawa? Musawa, you were expecting that I should be there for, of course. So there was this one about, it was so terrible. But my auntie told them, no, if the dad was around, I would have told her to go. And she used the dad. If had it been him, we would have allowed her to go. So it's okay later. So that's how I went off the book. But there were some brothers of ours who went, they joined some villages, but they had to face them. They were taught a punishment. Like, how can we go away? You dad's funeral. Why aren't you punishing doctor? Doctor was also not around. Say, these two are different because I died my dad. Anyway, as fatherhood, and mental health. I think people who value their fathers, or who see their fathers growth, who are supported by their fathers, I think they become strong. They're supposed to be. They are strong leaders, they are strong voice, they are strong. They know there's someone behind there, perhaps who is supporting them. So for the men out there, I think I'm really urging you to be the support for the children, so that they always know there's someone to get back to who is strong enough, to support them. I think that is something that we should ask all fathers to do. And for those that have not done it, even if they are very old, they should try to ensure that they do it even in their ages. provide resources, but some fathers do not have resources. I'm sorry again, I'm going to use my husband's story. My husband is retired now, so not so much of me. But our son, my son is a doctor, he's doing internship, and where he's doing his internship from, they were not given residence, they come from out. So this son of mine thought I'll give him a vehicle. So like to have, like his friends' parents have given, they'll give him a vehicle to gas him around. For me, I said, you know, you will have to have a vehicle. You will have to work for a vehicle. So sometimes he goes by border, yes, I'm telling you, to work. Sometimes he goes in taxi. It's only a while, once in a while they can borrow our vehicles, cars to go in. So this time around he didn't have money. So he told me, Mommy, from sales and transport. I told him I'll be moving. He tells me, hey, I'm doing this in the border, but now the money is done. Okay. We had an issue, he was sleeping quite a lot. And I told him to go and work. Go and get some money. Go and go to those clinics there and start working. He says, Mommy, I cannot work in my internship. I said, because I also did that. So this because you need my money, I work for it. So I don't get maybe you work or you find some space to stay with friends or campus. I mean, wherever you work, I don't have money for it. My husband gave me money. I put him on a routine that every day you go to the shop and they give you money, 70,000 for 10,000 per day.
For transport.
So I felt bad. Me, I have some money, but I would not give. I said, it's up to you if you are allowed to do that. Those are the resources. I said, but this is what I'm supposed to do. I said, I'm glad. I'm glad you're doing that. He gave him out of the little he had to be able to transport him. So I told him, you're going to pay the daddy back. Maybe, but he's supposed to give me. I said, oh, okay. Another person will tell us a story. Hey, fathers. There is a soft school for fathers, but for those that are good, I think they can be good, but the bad ones can also be quite nasty. So, this issue about fatherhood is a serious issue. Men's mental health, I know about men's mental health, but there's a difference between men and fathers. Many men, I think, are out there suffering, not being nurtured properly, not having very many responsibilities, and even not understanding what they are exactly supposed to do to other people, not even to themselves. But I cannot imagine now a man who is not handling things when he's a man, but now has to even support other people who are living around him. I think that can be so terrible. And no wonder that my pastor has talked about the pain of not having functional fatherhood. People are just there but not functional fathers. The pain that you bring to people within the family, the pain that you bring to the community, and the pain that you bring to the whole country. No wonder we are suffering in mental health crisis currently. Because the family is at stake. And unfortunately, when we talk about family, it is man and woman, and father and mother. But if the father part of things is not put in the right direction, then things are going to lose the family. We are going to get back to the drawing board and ensure that these two roles are redefined. The role of the mother and father are redefined because we are now lost. Even within the circumstances we are living in, the working woman and whatever, I think the father still has a role. Beyond just the biology, they still have a role to play as fathers. Many mothers are taking leave in homes, and I think we are going to adjust leaders as mothers. Again, the father, when we make their way, he just says, everything just gets back into order. But if a woman just shouts, again, we set it over, so I think we need to get back to the drawing board. This has to be purposed. It cannot be just done we have to purpose to have the family unit back in order, with everyone goes clearly defined in the circumstances which we are living. I tell our Muslim community, I think our celebrities, sorry, I have to say this, the polygamy that is on our side. And I keep challenging the men that if you cannot bring together children from the two different families, or children from these two different families, hate each other to the bone. They hate each other. They can't hate each other. Then how about if these children go into an office? You know the politics in offices, in workplaces. What will happen? What will happen? These ones, if they have the same blood, like you have a relationship, but how about this other person with whom you do not even have any relationship, just met in the corridors, the certain room? What will happen?
Disaster.
Because the wars and everything they see, and it all comes from a man who's not uniting. If there is a small family of 3 wives, so let's get back. Thank you, Angela, for bringing on this topic. The mental health day is around adversities, or they're asking us to improve mental health care in disasters and catastrophes, of which Uganda is actually struggling. They have quite a number of emergencies, public health emergencies, natural calamities, the floods that were in Uganda, this teachers issue, and so many others. We're having mpox. Some of us are here and perhaps never heard of someone having mpox, but the people who are suffering from mpox actually require mental support. They do require our support. People who suffer Ebola, they need our support. People who are living in enclosed place, in refugee settings or those humanitarian situations, they really need our support. They need our mental health care support. Because for most of them, they've lost so much that they are hanging on to, I can't imagine. So the resilience and everything which they never have to be had in their families and so on, and they're now just finding themselves in an open space somewhere with just a blanket which has been given. Makes it so difficult for them to cope. So that is what you have to provide mental health care, and that's the thing for this year. But we're also not forgetting our last year's thing, in the workplace. We're seeing lots of pain and many things happening in workplaces by the men, by the women leaders, by everyone who is not really okay upstairs. They keep saying so many things, and the person has brought it out very well. The one who just backs, and they think that when you back, then things will happen. The trauma that we are carrying from our bodies, we are taking it into our workplaces and everywhere. Colleagues, allow me to end here, wishing us a happy, a good lively evening, and also to remember that our mental health is our responsibility. For the fathers in here, it is your responsibility to nurture our families and ensure that we improve their mental health. Someone cannot give something they don't have. If you do not give love, if you don't get the love when you're growing up, you will not be able to give it to any other person. And of course, when you have hate, that is what we really want. Person
with the community through an initiative, and also, by the way, this is a lawyer. Then we have our Youth Impact Mental Health Award winner, that is Atim Lenny. At university, she has a podcast called Silent Conversations. I'm hoping she'll give us a moment of poetry. She's a poet and she's a student of psychology. So, Dr. Hafsa, I think a guest of honor will give the and then students.
Being around. Now I want to request everyone.
I want to do this quickly. This mental health guide, we've been running it. This is the 4th year, and the uniqueness about it is that we include stories of people with mental health challenges. We have cooperated with poetry. We also include a directory of people who offer services in the mental health space. Of course, we talk about what we also do. And the reason why we are launching today, we want people to take it more seriously, because some people think it's a joke. But I remember when I was not well, I had never heard of a psychiatrist. Doctor, can you believe I'd never heard of the word psychiatrist? Honestly, before I got unwell, yeah, I had never heard about it. I didn't even know psychiatrists exist until I got unwell. So some people would always call me when I went public about my story. Which psychiatrist should I take my pass on? You know, people are in your inbox to show that the need is big. So this is something I will not take credit for it that I write it alone, because I don't. There are a number of people who have written articles in this. And because this was fatherhood, it was about father effect and mental health, we have a unique section of fathers who are speaking out. And most of them, the fathers who wrote their stories, are guys who have mental health challenges, lived experience. But these men are married men, they have families, they are gainfully employed, and they are making impact in society. So as we launch today, I would request about the guest of honor, don't get tired. Sorry. Today we really worked to it. Please, just to unveil this, and then our guest of honor can sign as we launch. Yeah, of course. So we are unveiling.
thank all our speakers of the day. It has been a wonderful and very insightful sharing with them. So ladies and gentlemen, allow me pray for our meal, because right now we are going to the history making. How many of you at that age, you were also part of it? Oh, sorry. So we are going to count. 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Thank you very much. So now, ladies and gentlemen,
for training pastors.
Yes, Honorable Justice, we thank you very much.